I think it's going live now.
Yes.
Is it on now?
Yes.
Okay, it's good. Great. Okay, we are on now. Michael, are you ready? Michael? Michael, you have to unmute yourself. Oh, I see.
Okay, you now I can.
All right, now you're okay. We are on now.
Yeah, okay,
Hi,
thank you.
good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Kangen Distributors Weekly Meeting. We are now live on Facebook. We have this meeting every week for the last 6 years. And each time we have this meeting, we have a different speaker every week. And today we are very privileged and honored to have with us Mr. Gary Gan, 63-5 from
That's right.
Malaysia. Here with me is Michael Saw, 64 Michael Saw, and Michael Saw is my co-host. I'm gonna pass the floor over to Michael Saw for him to hold this meeting.
Thank you very much, Sam.
Okay.
Sam,
All right, over to you, Michael.
The gentleman whom you just heard is our team leader in Full House Power, Mr. Sam Xia. Welcome everybody into our second session where we're going to have a guest speaker to speak to us today. Our guest speaker has been specially selected by Sam, and this guy is actually one of Sam's top leaders. Very productive and still growing. His name is called Mr. Gary Gunn. He is now 6A3-5. It's best if I leave it to him, to Mr. Gary Gunn, to introduce himself, his background, because he's a real great guy. Okay, if you find his voice booming, accept it because that's him. That's his energy. That is his positive energy. Okay, Gary, you're on, please. Thank you.
All right.
To introduce
Thank you,
yourself.
Michael.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, through the years, even I still remember during school, I get into a lot of trouble because my voice is so loud that people always complaining me talking loudly. And of course, sometimes loudness has also to do with probably something to do with energy. And I remember, sometimes when people call me early in the morning, and then I because my wife or my baby is sleeping next to me, I try to make it softer. I said, hello. And then, you know what they say? They said, hey, Gary, what's wrong with you? Are you sick today? Yeah, but anyway, so hello, everybody. My name is Gary Gunn from Malaysia. And today's topic is going to be very interesting. Basically, when Sam called me and asked me to do a sharing, and I said most of the time I do this topic sharing, but I think today it will be better for interview style of sharing, because even better if you all have any question that you like to know, you all want to ask, or maybe some of you all want to know what are some of the tips that I have, that I do. It's always better that you can ask. So anyway, my name is Gary, as I mentioned just now, and I've got involved with this amazing company called Enagic'S 9 over years ago. To be exact, it's April 2011 I started. And of course, starting Enagic'S is a very amazing experience, a journey for me. But then again, of course, a lot of people see my rise to the top being like very fast, or some call it express, or some call it like virtually like a magic carpet ride, a easy, smooth sailing that goes up to the top. But a lot of people do not realize that there was so much things that I did way back when I was growing up, you know. And today's the topic that I always like to choose to tell people is from zero to hero, because those who really know me personally, and maybe there are some friends of mine who are on this call today, they will know that I grew up virtually nothing, you know, like not to say nothing as in virtually with nothing much. I've been sharing this very often. I'm only a high school graduate. I started work at 19 years old. So which means I've not gone to any college. I've not gone to any university. No certification or any professional or anything that you can consider as a qualified skill, you know. So, and of course, growing up in my younger days, I like to always ask questions. I like to always wonder, you know. And one of the person that I admire when I was a very young kid was the late Tan Sri Lim Gotong. Okay, of course, for the Malaysian, you all will have been very familiar with this name. But for the overseas guests, basically, this man was the person who built the Genting Group. Okay, and knowing his story, he came from China with nothing, you know, penniless, no money in his pocket. He doesn't speak English, no education, and at the time of his death, he was one of the richest men in Malaysia. And I've always wondered, and I've always asked my mother, I said, Mom, why is it that all of y'all keep on asking me to study hard, get a degree or something like that, you know, paper qualification, go and get a job. But here there is a man who has none of this and became one of the most successful person on earth. And that has always been my big curiosity in life, you know. And I guess my next biggest blessing was I've got a very successful uncle who eventually became my first mentor in life. Okay, and so happened of all industry, he was very successful in the network marketing industry. I'm very sure, Michael, you have known my uncle, right? Okay, I'm sure you guys went through life very much earlier. I still remember even seeing you when I was a very young kid, you know. So, and he became a role model to me. He became like a hope that this thing really works, you know, like you don't, I'm not necessarily saying you don't need education, but you need to have something more than just paper education to make it in life. And when I saw my uncle, and eventually he became my mentor, and I learned a lot of things from him, and then I start putting it into action, you know. Something about me is that when I learn something, I want to make sure I put it into action. The last thing I want is to learn something and not use it. Then in the first place, what's the point of even learning something if you are not going to at least even take 10% to actually use it, you know? So I still remember I started out in life at 19 years old. Not that anybody gave me money. I went through virtually like just any other normal people getting a job. I started my career as a cashier. For my Malaysian friends, I'm sure you know of a very popular shopping mall in the 80s called the Sogo. I used to work as a cashier in the Sogo pharmacy, you know. But while I was working in the normal world, I was part-timing. Okay, I won't call it part-timing, but I was going through a apprenticeship of becoming a leader. Okay, I call it leader because see, a lot of people wants to be a leader. A lot of people wants to be a influencer. Today you call it influencer. A lot of people wants to be a top guy in somewhere. But I want to share this is you can do it, but you just need to learn how to do it. It's actually not something that's difficult. A lot of people can't do it is because either they not learn it, they don't know how to do it, and they are not putting it into practice. So while I was actually working my normal work, trying to make ends meet, you know, trying to make a living, trying to make some money here and there. I was actually in an apprenticeship with my uncle and my mentor at that point of time. And one thing I noticed that he taught me a lot about the secret of success as well as becoming a leader. He did not actually even teach me things like technical things like products, you know. Although yes, in his company, he was in a supplement company, okay. So, but I don't see him talking much about that. But what he talks about is that journey of, you know, becoming a leader or becoming a great person that he is at that point of time. And that's how I just keep following him, you know. And of course, I want to say that my rise in Enagic was very fast, and my rise in Enagic looks simple, looks easy, but a lot of people didn't know about that foundation that was necessary for that to happen. And so many failures, so many disappointments, so many setbacks that I actually went through in my life, like so many, how should I say, lessons that I need to learn, so many wrong decisions that I made, so many ineffective things that I've done before. So a lot of people saw my success in Enagic, but a lot of people didn't know that there was so much in the construction sense, in the construction term, there's so much piling work that was done way back when I was even like 17 years old, 19 years old. Okay, so it looks like magic carpet ride, but there's no secret about it. There's no real magic carpet ride because there was so much thing that was done way before the Enagic journey. All right. So Michael, that's basically a little bit about my past. You know, like
Yeah, thank you very much,
how I
Gary.
started. Yes.
You are really great. I've seen you grow
Thank
from
you,
zero to
Michael.
hero. Mentioning about your uncle, I remember him, Freddie. He's a great guy who doesn't speak, you know. He will only speak to us after midnight. And when he speaks, wow, you got to wait until midnight before he wants to share. And what does he do? He just speak only on one subject, mastermind, looking for mastermind. And that was the key to his success and the key to him building one of the most successful groups, which is still going on now. It was a great time knowing your uncle Freddie, and now it's a great time getting to know you too. You are also a big inspiration to many, especially me and my wife. In the early days when I joined Kangen, I don't know many people except for Cora, Michelle. I haven't seen Sam yet. Sam was in England. You and you and another guy, your partner. Every time you meet me, how are you doing, Michael? How are you doing? I say, hey, I've done 10 units. I've done 20 units. Great, great. You know, these little words of encouragement brought me to what I am today. Thank you very much, Gary. You have actually, you know, a lot to share. When I hear your story, zero to hero, it's almost like going to tell me a fairy tale. And all fairy tales usually end up with very good endings. And yours actually is got one of the most marvelous endings. Okay. You were talking about having disappointments and also failures along the way in your journey in Kangen. Maybe we shouldn't use the word failure or disappointment. Maybe we should just say it's challenges that make you into a better person. Can you share with us now some of the disappointments or failures and how you overcame them? Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Michael. Since you brought that up, well, you are very true. You are very right. I mentioned the word failure is basically for just a common description to many people. But nowadays, I also don't like to use the word failure because I realized that basically if you look at the general universe, nature, at its originality, there is no such thing as success or failure, happiness or sadness. It's just an ongoing process of life. Okay, but of course, I would maybe describe what I call as the things that did not go my way. Okay, the things that I've wanted, okay, maybe due to certain expectation and due to certain things that I put in towards that expectation, but it did not go. Okay, so some people actually call it failure or challenges. Yes, no doubt. In my 9 years in Enagic, hey guys, I'm no Superman, right? I don't wear wings, a cape. You know, I don't wear my underwear outside. Okay, so I'm also just like any other normal human being. And through the 9 years of my experience, I've also experienced a lot of ups and of course a lot of downs. And there are also times where, you know, when sometimes I just sit down and reflect, is it really worth it? You know, after so many things that we've done and certain things happen, certain things that I did not expect to happen, it happens, you know, and or certain things that want it so much and it did not take place, you know. But then again, I realized that at the end of the day, it's the journey. That's why there's one Facebook Live that I did. I talked about, are we too anxious to reach our destination that we actually forgot to smell the roses along the way? What I'm trying to say is sometimes are we so caught up with trying to reach? Of course, in the business world, we are always talking about goal setting. We are always talking about, you know, hitting our target and becoming maybe the first -6 in the world, the first -5 in the world, the whatever, you know. Of course, these are very relevant in the business world, and it's normal. Nothing wrong with that. But having said that, my perspective today compared to my perspective many, many years ago is, and I'm not being religious, but I just want to say that if you believe in God, or some of you all call the Almighty, the one and only, the universe, you know, then I will say that let the will of God be done. What I'm trying to say is whatever will be, let it flow, you know. So when I actually have this perspective lately, when I'm becoming more aligned, okay, with the forces of the universe, aligned with God, then I realize is that everything happens for a reason. Okay, everything happens for a reason. And if sometimes you don't get the things you want, doesn't mean it's not a good thing, because I realize that every single thing that happens in our life are blessing to us. Life works for us, not to us. Okay, so when I realize it that way, then I realize that, hey, actually these are good things that's happening for us. And knowing this situation, I realized that, okay, it may not be the thing that I want, but what can I benefit from this situation? So when I start to dwell my entire focus and have that gratitude sense of thank you for this thing happening, rather than why is this thing happening? Why am I the one getting this kind of thing? But instead, I said, thank you for whatever this is. The reason is behind this, I accept it. When you have that type of feeling, you know what happened? You suddenly get an invincible strength that push you forward. And of course, the second thing that I like to talk about, especially if some people that are hearing this, probably you have been many years in this business, for certain reason, your business has been stagnant, things are not working your way. Ask yourself this question. Why did you started this journey in the first place? There must be a reason why you started this journey. Okay, so fall back to the reason why you started the journey, and magnify that. And when that starts to magnify, it's just like night and day, right? So there's nothing wrong with night or nothing wrong with day. And when the brightness comes, it doesn't mean that the moon disappears. The moon is still there, but it's just that you can't see it. So what I'm trying to say is everybody will have their frustration, disappointment, or their setbacks. But when you start to shift, and it's just like your muscle, you know, when you start to shift your focus, your attention from that point of pain into something that is more grateful, gratitude, a life of purpose, then that part of your pain start to diminish. And that's where you actually get the invincible power of continuing on that journey. So that's what I did every time, Michael.
Thank you, Gary. You are walking me back to the good times that I had with your uncle. He has one beautiful phrase which I suddenly remembered. Exactly like what you said,
Right.
He's always will mention this word when things go right, when things go wrong. He'll say, let nature takes its course. You still remember that, Gary?
Yeah.
I'm glad you are using it to the full. I think many of us will agree with you that money is not the most important thing in this business. As we
Right.
pursue our business, achieving little progresses here and there, what you say is right. We must also stop to smell the roses. And you are back actually, beginning to show signs of how your rose garden looks so good and smells so good. Yeah, when I talk to friends about you, hey, this guy doesn't work now. Like, he's just enjoying his life, going around the world, enjoying with the family. That's wonderful, isn't it?
Yes.
Ah, I want to ask you one question.
Yes,
I
Michael.
hope you don't mind,
No
because
worries.
it's intruding into your family life.
Okay.
Everybody says behind a successful man, there will always be a lady behind. We don't get to see the beautiful lady, Can you show us your beautiful lady who has been
Okay.
your inspiration in life?
He
And
hasn't put
how
on a
she is
makeup.
also developing the kangen business with you.
Yes.
Can
In
you
fact,
show us this?
yeah. I'm in fact to be very to be true, I'm actually very blessed. And that's why I always believe that sometimes what we do today, if you don't get something today, it's okay. Because just a few days ago, somebody called me, I think 2 days ago, and that lady actually asked me, it says, Gary, I noticed that most of your events, you open to the whole world. Like you open to the everybody on Facebook and all that. Why you do that? I mean, why don't you just do it inclusive for your team, or just for people that you get to benefit? And I actually told this lady, I said, the reason I do that is because to me, my currency, okay, and guys, if you have a paper next to you, a pen and paper, you may want to write this down if it's of any relevance to you, okay? And I told her very spontaneously, I believe it came from somewhere up there, so it just came out very spontaneously. And I told her, I said, my currency is blessing. So instead of I view my currency making the money, as in terms of money, I view my currency as blessing. So if I view my income coming in as a form of blessing, then I realize that I need to get more blessing. Not that in an aspect of I want something, but I want to get blessing. And I feel, frankly speaking, I'm not sure some of y'all actually follow my Facebook. For so many days in the lockdown, I'm actually enjoying myself a lot. Spiritually, mentally, physically. Okay. My wife cooks literally every single day for us, and not just one type of dishes, like amazing. It's like I've never even enjoyed this during non-MCO, So what I'm trying to say is, if you view blessing as your currency, the only way you can get blessing, the only way, okay, and I believe this is the only way, is when you go out there and do something for somebody out there. I mean, it doesn't have to be giving money. It can be so many things. And that's where I feel that my life is very blessed, maybe because that's what I've been doing. Okay. Of course, who doesn't want money? Who doesn't want more money? Who doesn't want more fame, glory? Yeah. But if you can just put giving out something more than anything, I feel that the blessing you just open the floodgate of blessing. Okay. And coming back to my wife, yes, it's very true. And I would like to credit my success today, my blessing today, to my lovely wife, Lily Leong, as most of you all know. She being a very entrepreneurial person, and she's until today, she still have a lot of marketing ideas, off and on. She'll tell me, hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? she literally put a lot of this aspect aside to really take charge of the family from the children's aspect. And in many times when I look at a lot of successful people, I realize that there must be somebody, because success to me, when I look at success, it must be an overall thing. If a person is only successfully financially, just having money and nothing else, I wouldn't associate that as true success. I mean, that's how I look at it. It doesn't matter with how other people look, because it must be a total thing. Of course, when I say a total thing, it doesn't mean every day is bright, sunny, sunshine, you know. Yeah, there are times that we also have our challenges, we also have a lot of things, but at least the life should be somehow complete, you know. So I have a very balanced and complete life, and I'm very blessed. And that credit goes all out to my wife, Lily. Yeah. So, Michael. Yeah.
Is your wife listening in to you?
I hope so. Yeah, she's actually getting.
I think this is important because we are all team builders. We have our own team. During this lockdown period.
Sorry,
yeah.
can I just add something there?
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Michael, when I talked about that blessing just now, you see a lot of things, maybe from a business point of view, we still have certain level of control, right? Like if I want to go and do a talk to 200 people, I can still control that in a way. Or maybe if I want to make $1 million a year, I can still somehow plan certain things to control that. But when you start to look at blessing coming from maybe having healthy, good growing up children, a very nice marriage life, a nice relationship, let's say with your spouse, and things just move that way, somehow it needs, if you look at it spiritually, it needs the grace of God. I'm just saying that. It's not something that I can say, hey, you be nice to me. It will not be even natural. Hey, children, you all listen to daddy, or you know. So to a certain extent, to have this type of balance and this type of blessing is really a grace of God. That's what I'm trying to say. And there is a way that you can actually cultivate that. And to me, the greatest, easiest, fastest way is to keep on doing something to somebody out there every single day. That's my advice.
Yeah. It's nice to hear from you, Gary.
Thank you.
Talking about when tough time comes, you know, the tough stick going. That's why you get this kind of wonderful results. I was trying to share with you just now because being team leaders ourselves, we will have a lot of team members having problem during the lockdown. Yeah. But from what I hear, there are actually basically two groups of people, because they cannot get out, so they got to stay in the same house. Some really enjoyed it and got huge benefits, like what you say. You know, I've got a family where they don't say thank you to each other. They don't even say good morning to each other. And the father of the house gets very angry over this because he's quite a polite and gentleman. During this lockdown period, things change. Everyone begins to say thank you. Everyone begins to say good morning. Isn't that wonderful?
It's true.
I like what you share about your family, because if we make money and if we cannot bring some harmony and happiness to the family, it doesn't mean that much. Of course, there are also those, you know, because of this lockdown, they got nowhere else to go. They begin to bite at each other more than other days too. Thank you, Gary. Thank you. By the way, your wife is also involved in the business, is she? And how well is she doing?
She has a 682 account.
Wow.
We're going to 682 by end of latest by end of July.
Wow, that's good. That's good. And I understand you are trying to involve your son in the business too?
Yes. In fact, since you mentioned about this, there's one thing that I notice people don't talk about a lot, especially in Kangen, okay? But a lot of people talk a lot about this in other network marketing business. Actually, network marketing, especially in Kangen, as all of us are in Kangen, is the best wealth building platform for everybody, to me. So I got 4 children. So apart from leaving them property, leaving them some money or whatever, what if we can leave them a legacy in terms of Kangen legacy where it actually supports them financially? And when I say support them financially, I don't mean to spoon feed them until they grow up, okay? Until they are like adult, I'm still giving them money. No. They can even use that money for charity, for all I care. Doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is, everybody, if they look at Kangen, for certain reason, I don't know why, and I see this even from day one, I did Kangen 9 years ago. And of course, 9 years ago, it was even more into that, where I noticed that everybody somehow associate Kangen with a water machine. So if I were to ask people, what is Kangen? Kangen, water ionizer. What is Kangen? Healthy water. What is Kangen? Good health. But it is true. I'm not saying it's not true. It's true. But don't forget the true health, where you have physical health, financial health, and of course, the peace of mind, right? So what I'm saying is that when you mentioned, Michael, that I've got children and would I want to get my son involved? Now, I cannot guarantee that. Will my son be interested to do Kangen? I'm not sure. But from what I see, it has a bit of inclination, because 2 years ago, he helped me sold 1 machine. At that point of time, he's 9 years old. Okay? So, but what I'm trying to say is, unlike other type of career, other type of business, it is very difficult to pass on your business to your children. In Kangen, it is an automatic pass on, okay? And that person who is taking it doesn't need to have any qualification, background, doesn't need to have any specialized skill, doesn't need to have any requirement, okay? I've got one of my leaders in my group, he passed on at the age of, I think, close to 80 years old or something like that. And now the son inherits that account, and it's a 6823 account. Can you imagine that? And I'm very sure most of you who are 6823, you know what kind of monthly income you are getting every single month. So Enagic, my friend, apart from a Kangen water machine, it's a very good succession planning platform. It's a very good wealth estate planning platform. It's a very good wealth distribution for your next generation platform. That to me is Kangen. Yeah, Michael?
Yeah, thank you, Gary, for bringing it up. Inheriting our business. A lot of other companies talk about inheriting business. The children can inherit. But if it's not paying kind of inheritance, why inherit? The big difference you can see that a lot of us, can pass down a very successful business, 682-3, high income type of inheritance. That makes a lot of difference.
Can I actually add something to that point?
Yeah.
You see, the very big difference to those of you who are on this call that you want to know is, a lot of businesses, especially in the form of traditional business, is so relying on the business owner. Very few traditional business, unless you are talking of the franchise or the very, very big companies, very few of them have a duplication system. So if you have built your Enagic Kangen business correctly with the right duplication system and it's being leveraged by your team, the business is not dependent on the business owner or the business holder. So if you take this account and you pass it to somebody who doesn't even know how to do the business, that account, that business is still paying, because it's not relying on this entity. It's relying on what we call as that network. That's why it's called network marketing. It's relying on the network. So my question to you guys is, how much are you building? Can you imagine if you are able to go 20 years down the road, okay, if you can travel to time, go 20 years ahead now, look at that account that you are having in Kangen and see it, is it generating income on its own? is it getting you residual income through a network base? Because why? By 20 years time, you probably may not have that strength that you have right now, that enthusiasm, whatever it is that you have right now, and that account can still be generating income. So it's very important to look at it that point of view. Because in Kangen, we have that benefit. But most of important is, are you making that benefit work for you? That's very important. Yes, over to you, Michael.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gary. You seem to be not talking only about money nowadays. You're talking about human life values, which actually is a very important part in our journey of Kangen. You seem to want to tell us, don't give a fish for somebody to eat. One day it's gone. Teach them how to fish. That's wonderful. Gary, thank you
Yes.
for that. By the
you.
way, how long did it take you to become a 6A? Would you like to share this with us? Because many of us are brand new here today, wanting to get inspiration from you. Yes.
Before I share about how long I take to be a 6A, I just want to give that advice to the people who are listening, because a lot of people, when they hear my answer, then they tend to like have a certain feeling of either overwhelmed, or maybe some people will feel like they are not good enough. Okay, don't compare your success, your result with another person. Why? Because everybody has their story. Okay, Enagic is probably my 10th network marketing company. Okay, so I failed so many. I mean, no, okay, I don't want to use the fail. I've gone through so many challenges. Okay, I've gone through so many things that I should not do. So I went through so many things that I should not do. Just like Thomas Edison, he found 1,000 ways not to do a light bulb, and the 1,001 made him a light bulb. So I went through so many things that I should not do, and then I found Kangen, and I did all that I should not do in Kangen. So it took me actually 4 months to be a 6A. At that point of time, that 4 months is no big deal. Of course, today we know there are some people who made 6A in 1 week or 1 month or something like that. But at that point of time, I was very excited, because we make 4 months, and I'm very sure Sam will agree with me, with nothing virtually. We didn't even have an office, and I still remember, and I humbly felt so humble, because coming from a network marketing background, I realized that team is very important. So I built a team called the Kangen Power Team, and I realized that we cannot be always having meetings in somebody's house, right? Then, in fact, we initially started with having meetings in people's house, in our house, one of our houses, until we realized that the people who are coming to our houses, we don't even know who are those people, and we started asking, is it your people? Everybody said no. They said, hey, who is this guy that come in? So at that point of time, I opened up a very small little office to our Malaysian friends. Is in Subang. It's a place called the USJ City Mall. Those days called the Digital Mall. And I was very humbled that Mr. and Mrs. Oshiro actually came to pay a visit to our office. Okay, that's how I started now. 4 months from date I joined to be a 6A. Yeah.
Wow, that's really great, no? Gary, you may think it's not remarkable, but I would say it's extremely remarkable, because you and Sam and the early pioneers had nothing to look forward to, and yet you all, in that kind of challenging environment, you really made it. Thank you for making it, because you are actually building a path for those who are joining now. You're making it easier for us to do the business. Well, I want to ask you one more question. What are your 3 biggest success factors? Maybe you like to amplify on that.
Okay. My 3 biggest factor. There are a lot, but if I want to sum it up to just 3, I think again, doing the Kangen business, I'm very sure a lot of people who are listening on this call are Kangen people. So I want to say that there is no such thing as a right way or wrong way. Okay, of course, a lot of people actually ask me this question like, Gary, do you lead with the business? Do you lead with the product? Is it better to lead with the business, better to lead with a product? So I want to say here that there is no right and wrong way to do Kangen business, or for that matter, to do any other business. But the first point that I want to mention, the first success factor is you need to be very clear, okay, your why. I think Michael mentioned just now, Michael Yo, he talks about the why. Why am I doing Kangen? Okay, so the reason why I say the first success factor must be your why is because the end, your action that you need to put out, the intensity of your action maybe that you need to put out, and everything that follows has to be very similar to what you want at the end of the day. So in my case, why do I say that is, when I was growing up, my model is my uncle. My model is my uncle, which is my mentor. And when I saw my uncle, I saw what I call it as freedom. I love that. My uncle is one person, you can go jogging with him in the morning and leave his house. You go out jogging with him in the morning and come back to his house 1 week later. How do you go jogging and come back 1 week later? Because he'll just take you to the home. I'm sure, Michael, you've heard stories like that before. He will take you home all over Malaysia, and then no clothes, never mind, buy. No toothpaste, toothbrush, never mind, buy. You know, my uncle lived that kind of life. And when I look at it, that to me is success. That to me, freedom. As in, then of course, everybody can do that. I mean, if you want to just travel, everybody can. But every month after month, he keeps showing us his income. That is the most interesting. You know, he keeps showing us that amazing income. So I said, wow, if that is real, and my uncle has proven it, my mentor has proven it, that means it's possible for everybody, for anyone. So my first success factor in Enagic'S Kangen, to me, although the product is good in terms of the water machine, and we've heard so many testimony just now, the amazing miracle testimony, and guys, I have a lot of amazing testimony myself in terms of health testimony I got. But what I view Kangen is a vehicle for ultimate freedom. That is my why for Kangen. So that first success factor, because when I have that why, then all my action is driven towards creating that mechanism to have that freedom. So to have that freedom, I realized that my entire business cannot be dependent on these two hands and the two legs of mine. It must be dependent on a large network of people that me directly or indirectly created to bring in the volume. So that success factor to me is very important. And that's to me, I mean, to you, it can be anything, to be maybe to get you out of your job, to pay your debt, to give you a better health, whatever it is, to share great things to people, but you must have it very clear. And just knowing it is not enough. The first success factor, you need to write it down. You need to actually have it somewhere that you can see it every day. And I'm very sure Michael saw, you know, my uncle, he writes a goal book every single day until today. I don't know how many, maybe 30, 40, 50 years already. He's still writing that goal book. You know, yeah, I can see, Michael, you're holding it, right?
Writing what you are talking.
It's very important. Okay, so the first thing is you need to have what I call as a vision. Okay, a vision of what you want in your Enagic'S business. What do you see? What is your why? How big is your why? Okay, so if the bigger your why, the action you put in, the chances of you giving up also is less. Of course, if your why is just to make 2,000 ringgit, then small little challenges you'll give up. But like for me, my one of my why today is basically for my fellow Filipinos. If guys, if you are a Filipino, just put give me a 1 on the chat button there. If you are a Filipino, I want to see how many Filipinos on this is on this session today. Like in my case, because I benefited so much from my Filipino community, from my Filipino team, my why today is to do a project called the Global OFW Freedom Project, which is to free all the overseas Filipino worker. So that's my why right now, okay? So the first success factor to me is you must have a very clear idea, a very clear picture of what's your why, your mission in your business. The second one I realize is, I always like to use this analogy, you know. I said, if you want to be, how should I say, don't play, okay, don't play a badminton, don't play a badminton game with a tennis mindset or a tennis rule. What I simply mean by that is, if you want to play a certain game, you make sure you understand the rule of the game because you want to play to win. Now, having said this, I want to say this, there is nothing wrong with just purely selling the Kangen machine and making your money from the 8 point. Nothing wrong with that, okay? Don't go out there and say, Gary said, don't sell the machine. Don't say that, please. Okay, nothing wrong with that. But if you are one of those who are tuning in today wanting to be like me or a lot of leaders out there enjoying what I call as the uncommon freedom to do whatever, whenever, and with whoever you want in your life and still have money coming in, then you need the second factor. Wow. Michael, is that yours?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No worries, okay. If you want that freedom, then the second success factor that is very important is called leverage, okay? So you must ask yourself this question. How much percentage in your Kangen business are you spending in terms of leveraging your business? And when I say leveraging your business, some of these key points are very important. If you have a pen and paper, you may want to write it down. Are you recruiting or are you selling? Okay, there are two big differences, okay? Now, I know in Kangen, there are a lot of people who are focusing on selling the machine. Nothing wrong with that. As I said, we have a great product. We have a good commission plan. But if you are only focusing on selling and not doing any recruitment, okay, recruitment sounds very soldier-like, very salesman-like. But recruitment simply means bringing in team players to your organization, see the same vision as you and to do what you do. If you are not focusing on that, you can't build a big network, okay? And I still remember this, that my mentor told me many, many years ago when I was starting out in my network marketing days. He says this, he says, Gary, if you want to make some money in network marketing, sell the product. But if you want to conquer the world, build people and build network. And I've always remembered that from day one. And that's why I say the second success factor, you must focus on leverage. So leverage can be recruitment, getting a team of people with you. Leverage can be doing things that magnify your effort. Like for example, I still remember when I started off, not many people in my team know how to do the demo. So you know what I did? I get somebody to film me doing the demo and I burn DVDs of my demo presentation because I cannot, how many demos can I do in a day? So I said, okay, nah. So people started buying all my DVDs and I am therefore being in everybody's home when they play the DVD. Of course, today you don't need any more DVDs. Today you can just do a YouTube video. It's so easy right now. You can just do a live video. You can do a Zoom meeting like this today. Okay, so the second aspect, as I mentioned just now, very, very important, leverage. Okay, just now somebody talks about, I think Michael, you mentioned about instead of give a person a fish, teach them how to fish. Very important. I notice a lot of people, especially in building their network marketing business, especially in Kangen, they are so afraid to let their downlines actually dirty their hands and do the job because they are afraid of losing sales. Guys, I've got a message for you today. It's better to lose sale today than to be a worker yourself for the rest of your Enagic'S journey. Listen to me again clearly. It's better to lose 1 or 2 sales today, but letting your people to do the business instead of you having to be a worker yourself for the rest of your entire Enagic journey. So what I'm trying to say is the leverage factor, let your people do it, okay? And coming from this approach, I realized that a lot of time when my people ask me for things, I will somehow point them to a reference point. I won't give them the answer. Why? Because you want them to be resourceful. You want them to be independent. The faster your people give, the faster your people become independent and without you, okay, the faster and the more successful you grow in your Enagic business. And I want to quote my very good friend, Bernard Chan. He always say this, Kangen is, or network marketing is one business that you would like to be redundant. You know, in the corporate world, or if you have a job, this word called redundant or redundancy is very dangerous, because you know, when you are in the redundancy category, anytime you will lose your job. But you know what? In our type of business, in Kangen, the more redundant you get, but of course, when you're redundant, make sure your income is still coming in. If you're redundant and you have no income, you're screwed, okay, you're gone. So the redundancy level in Enagic, if you build a right team, that is the sign of you becoming successful in this business. That's my second success factor. And of course, my third success factor, which I want to say is, the third success factor, when I look at it, is, of course, this wasn't in my, this will not be what I shared before, but now I share it this way, thanks to some awareness that I'm getting a lot today. You see, a lot of people tend to view Enagic or their network marketing business as a business. Nothing wrong with that, okay? I'm not here to tell you that Enagic is not a business. It's still a business, and it is a business. But if you look at your role in Enagic more like a mission, more like a value provider to the world's problem, then you will see less of Enagic as a business. Now, let me share with you. Think of those people who shared the testimony just now. If the people that have not provided this value to those people that shared the testimony just now, those people will not get the benefit of what Kangen can do today. What I'm trying to tell you is, if you were somehow to look at your role in this Enagic or Kangen journey as a problem solver to the world's problem, you will look at Enagic less of a business, more of a mission. So my third success factor is, look at yourself from a point of view of how much value can you continuously give out to the world with Kangen as a platform. Because if you can see it this way, then whether you achieve 6A, 6A, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 6, making $1 million is not so important than the mission that you have to solve somebody's problem. I'm saying this not coming from a point that I'm not trying to tell you, don't go for your goals, don't achieve your goals, don't make the millions. I'm not saying that. But see it as an obligation to use Kangen as a platform to touch somebody's lives. That's what I'm trying to say. Because if you are running a traditional business today, let's say, would you look at your success as a 6A23 or any ranks? You won't do that, right? You will look at you will look at your success as how satisfied you are in helping somebody solve their problem. So the third success factor that I'm talking about is try to look at Enagic as a platform to solve people's problem today. So that's my three biggest success factor that I see, because the third success factor will come into play. As most of y'all know, to get outstanding results, to get extraordinary results, you need to do extraordinary things. You need to do outstanding, out of the normal things. And in order for you to do out of the normal, out of the extraordinary thing, you need to, it must start with how you see yourself, how you see what you are doing. If you see it as just a transactional business thing, I sell you this, I make this, I reach this rank, I get this, then your action will not be that big. When your action is not that big, guess what's going to happen to your results? This is also shared by what Tony Robbins talked about, right? It follows the same pattern. So you want to see your Enagic journey as a mission to solve people's problem. And I like to give credit to Sam Sia that actually told me, because he asked me, Gary, I still remember flying with him to Manila. Sam, I think you still remember that conversation we had, right, in the plane when we were in Manila, and he says, what do you think is a billionaire? And I was like, I got many concepts about billionaire, but he gave me this point. He says, billionaire is the person who gives the most value to the most people in the world. And then I realized it's all about value contribution. So if you can see your journey in Enagic as that, I'm telling you, the abundance of result, whatever, whether it's rank results, income results, blessed result, whatever, it will come. I guarantee you that, seriously. Over to you, Michael.
Okay, Gary, I got one final question for you, but before I give you the question, I would like to remind all our listeners here that you'll be given a chance to write down your questions so that I can relate it and pass it on to Gary for a response. If you have a special question you like to ask Gary, please put it into the chat box so we can identify for Gary to respond. My last question to you is this. What are the importance that you place on in training? I noticed that you don't only have local training sessions going on in your group, you also lead your people, to learn from other masters like Coach Ras and how important it is. Can you please share? Thank you.
Okay. You see, this is my personal observation. Nothing wrong, nothing right. It's just my personal observation. My 9 years in Enagic, I realized that there are two types of people. One, people focus on the activity of the business. What I mean by activity of the business, for example, they go and do demo. Nothing wrong with demo, but they go and do demo. They do presentation. They maybe install machines. Bernard will tell you he don't install machine, right? They go and do deep cleaning, whatever. They focus on the activity of running the business. But from day one, and again, I want to say is I'm very blessed to be mentored by a very successful network marketing leader like my uncle, my mentor, where he showed me that our goal is not to build our business. Wow. Then I was thinking, hey, we have a business and our goal is not to build our business. What does he mean? And then he says this, our goal is to build our people and our people build our business. Wow, that was a really big eye-opening. And then I was just 19 years old, guys. I was just 19 years old. So he says, when you want to focus on building the business, you are alone. That means there's no leverage, as I mentioned about leverage just now. But when you focus on building the people and the people build the business, then where is your focus? Your focus is on people. So when you need to focus on your people, and I always remember that in his company, in his team, he has a slogan. I'm not sure, Michael, you still remember this slogan, but his slogan until today is building leaders as good as us or even better. That's always his slogan. Building leaders as good as us or even better. And then it comes to my point is, can you imagine if the people in my team are very good people, they are much better than me, they are like prime minister's level, they are like CEO level, they are like, all these great people. Can you imagine what's going to happen to your business? It's going to go up the roof, right? Then I realized that in order, and you and I know, sometimes diamonds are not presented to you on a silver platter, especially in our... Guys, listen very carefully. this is a side advice I want to share with you all, those of you all who are listening to this. A lot of people always tell me this, Gary, where can I find the black horses? Okay, my term for black horses is like what Sam called the catalysts, the champions, the top performer, the top leaders. Now listen very carefully. Sometimes these black horses, catalysts, champions are not in their normal. I mean, when you find them, they are not presented like what they are supposed to be. Because if they are already a black horse, catalyst, or a champion, who are you to recruit them? And why do they want to join you? They'll be doing something very great already, right? Sometimes, and this is from my mentor, sometimes, or most of the time, these diamonds are hidden in mud. They are hidden in soil. You can't see them, but you need to dust away the soil. You need to take away the mud. You need to polish them. You need to shine them so shiny that one day they are the black horse, the catalyst, the champion that you are looking for. But they are not at the beginning when you get to know them. And I'm very sure today you all know of this. Many people today that is in your network that they are performing so well. There was nobody before. But because of certain processes that goes through of dusting them, all the dust away, polishing them, then they are somebody today. So what I'm trying to say is, ask yourself this question: how much effort or how much in terms of percentage are you putting in your Kangen business to build your people? Because again, I want to say this, okay? Now, nothing wrong with selling machine and make 8-point sales, nothing wrong. But if you want to have that true freedom, that residual income that comes in, and I'm very sure Sam and some of the top leaders will tell you their percentage today from residual income comparing to their active income is virtually like, if I'm not mistaken, Sam is like 2% active income, 98%. Am I right, Sam? If it is correct, give me a thumbs up. I remember him saying that in Manila. So if you want to have that type of scenario, please, my friend, nothing wrong in doing the business like showing demo and all that, but slowly reduce that effort and focus more on leveraging effort, leveraging in terms of training, seminars. And to answer, Michael, your question, why do I invite people like Coach Ras, or even if you notice, once every month, okay, next Tuesday, a little bit of advertising here, next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Malaysia time, I'll be getting Gerald Kostika as one of our interview with the star. He's the guy that wrote the book, Ride the Wave of Enagic'S. If you all remember that book, Ride the Wave, the author, Gerald Kostika, he will be here next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Malaysia time. So why do I want to get all this? Because to me, it's very simple. I tell you, one of my key secrets of my success in Enagic'S, I focus on my people. Not that I don't focus on me. I've been building myself so many years. I'm still continuing to build myself. And now whatever I'm building for myself, I'm building my people. So I am doing whatever I can to build, to make sure my people are developed so that all the dust are dust away, and I can shine the diamond, and the diamond becomes shining crystal light diamond. So that's why seminars, events like this, trainings, third party like Eric Worre's events, Eric Worre GoPro, I highly recommend it, are very important, because at the end of the day, it's not about how good you are in selling a product, it's how good you are as a person. Okay, and I've always mentioned this, that if you have never heard this before, you may want to write it down on your paper. Okay, that network marketing, and especially in Kangen, is a personal development program disguised in a business outfit. So network marketing, or Kangen, is a personal development program disguised in a business outfit. So it's all about building yourself, building your people. Your business will grow, I guarantee you. Today, I don't even need to go to Cambodia. If you look at the number of things that's happening in Cambodia, in that small little 17 million population country, It's amazing. Why? Because from day one, I spent 2 full years to develop the people there. Now they are strong. So they just keep building, even without me going. They are great. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Gary, for sharing. We have got 2 questions here. Actually, both the questions are one same question from Noli and Victor Yap, asking you to share some tips on team building. And maybe, along the way, amplify by letting us know what are some of your team building activities.
All right. Team building is very simple. Maybe, okay, I'm not saying 100%. Maybe I was, in a way, quite gifted. I still remember when I was like slightly more than 12 years old. Okay, so I shared this very often. I was born in a network marketing family. So most of my uncles, my family, my parents are involved in network marketing. So when I was even at that young age, I realized that while our parents, every parent's got children, right? So while the parents, the adults are having their meeting, I started to lead these children of all these people, these distributors, and we have our own events ourselves. And that's how I became a leader even at the age of 12 years old and things like that. And I realized team building is very simple. First and foremost, in any team building, to me, okay, and again, nothing wrong, nothing right. In any team building activity, there must be an end game, okay, like Avengers, the end game. So you must always be able, if you really want to build a strong and dynamic team, you must be able to be a good vision painter. What I mean by vision painter, I still remember, I just give you two examples of some of the teams that I built successfully in Asia. One of them is the Philippines and one of them is in Cambodia. Now, I still remember when I went to Philippines, nothing. And that time, Philippines office has just opened 2 years already when I went. I went in 2012, January, I still remember. There was nothing. I still remember the old office was in Makati. Now they are in BGC. Small office, there's only about 4 staff. When I went there, there was only 2 people, Maury and Emmeline, 2 people. If you drop a pin, you can literally hear the noise of a pin because there's nobody there. And of course, most of you all know that the first person that I introduced into Philippines, my Philippines business is John Lim. Okay, so most of you all know who is John Lim. And John went there and then he says, he asked me this question. He says, Gary, are you sure we are in the right business? Because I was telling him so big, I say, what, this business, we are going to conquer the world. We're going to have all the Asian market in us. We're going to have how many people and all that, Then John asked me this question when he saw that office with only 2 staff, small little office, nothing there, nobody, no customer, nothing. Then he asked me this question. He says, Gary, bro, do you think we are in the right company? Are we in the right business? I said, John, why did you ask that? And he says, hey, Gary, look at it. There's nobody here. I say, John, because there's nobody today, one day you will be a somebody. Can you imagine if today Kangen is as big as the A company, where there's like even your grandfather, grandmother is doing it? I mean, who are you then? And true enough, within a short period of 3, 4, 5 years, the business really exploded. All over Philippines, not just in Manila, but all over Philippines, we've gone from Luzon to Mindanao to Pari, to Visayas and all over Philippines. Now that's Philippines. And then come to Cambodia. Same thing. I still remember when I first went to Cambodia, there was my first big talk in Cambodia. Guess what? There's only 10 people in somebody's house. And I spoke like as if I was talking to 1,000 people from 10 a.m. in the morning all the way to 10 p.m. at night. And I alone talking, one person. I'm not bragging or anything. I'm saying that is because what I did was if you really want to build a strong team, when there is nothing, you must talk as if there is a lot of things. That's why some people say, Gary, you are very loud. Gary, you are talking like as if you make it big. Now that, my friend, is a secret. Because when there is nothing, you have to shout. You have to keep shouting. You have to paint the picture like, and you somehow have to paint it. So I always call mission is the ability to transfer the picture. Okay. Oh, sorry. Mission is the ability to see the things that people cannot see, guys. And that's all about visionary, right? A vision is ability to see things that people cannot see. If everybody, even the Tom, Dick, and Harry can see, then what's the big deal about you seeing it? No big deal, right? So the vision, you must have to be able to paint the picture. And then leadership is the ability to convince your people that the vision is real and it becomes their vision. And when the people like in Cambodia, when they caught on to that vision, when they see the dream, when they see the real picture, just like their picture, now it's no more you talking, it's them talking already. So I still remember I said, Cambodia, we can make it, we can be the #1 and all that. And then now they are starting to talk like that. I doesn't need me anymore. That vision is transferred to them and they start talking. So the idea is to make sure your people becomes the duplication of yourself. Once you are able to do that through a certain level of processes, the mechanism works on its own. So that's, of course, team building is a very big topic. Okay, most of the time we do our training is a 3-day, 2-day, 1-night training. So I'm just giving you the gist of it. But this is the key aspect. If you really want to build a team, you need to have this. Yeah. Okay, over to you, Michael.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gary. You have really shared a lot through your heart, and I'm sure every one of us here would have picked up some value from it. For me, a lot. You're not loud again, Gary. It's your energy that's changing the world. It's the energy that you give that's making your team prosper. It's the energy that you give that brings more people into your team.
In fact, Michael, I just want to quickly add one thing.
Yeah.
It's not what you say. Sometimes, I'm very sure, Michael, you agree. You know, our Kangen product or the Kangen business plan, whatever, you can say the same thing, but with a different energy level, the impact is different. I'm very sure you agree with that, right?
Yeah.
That's
no
always,
need to be shy about it. Shout it out from the top of the roof.
and
Spread it
sometimes
around. Yeah.
this energy is very attractive. People caught on to people want your thing, people want to buy your thing, people want to be a part of your team, people want to do what you're doing, sometimes because of this transfer of energy. That's why you need to keep you just need to get the energy up. Put it that way.
Yeah. And the confidence that the way you deliver makes people want to buy from you. Okay. I'm not here to carry favor, but I'm sure this is the feeling from a lot of us. Sam, it's almost 1 o'clock. Do you have something to share before I sum up?
Yeah. Okay. Let's go give a big hand to Gary.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Sam, for your invitation. Thank you, Sam.
Sure. This guy is a bundle of. Gary is not loud. He's super loud, but he has a lot of energy and many of us, if you read the chat box, Gary, many of the people really got a lot of value from today's sharing. So thank you so much. I just want to take a moment to just introduce the next week's speaker. Okay, I have invited for next week the #1 guy in the whole of India, Samir Poddar. Samir Poddar is the 683-4. He will be our guest speaker for next week. So that's my announcement for next week. So back to you again, Michael.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sam. Finally, let's give another round of applause to our great speaker, Gary Gunn. He gave us a lot of energy. We must give him back some energy too. Don't suck him until
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah. You mentioned about wanting to rock the world. I think you can. I believe you can. And you are doing it now. my little word of encouragement to you for your great work that you have done is keep on making waves, improve lives. And I'm sure you can continue to rock the world together through Enagic'S. Thank you very much, Gary. No
Thank
word
you.
of thanks can deliver our appreciation to you. Okay?
Thank you,
very
Michael.
much. So that's it for the day.
I
Sam,
have
you
one
got anything
announcement to
share?
make.
Yeah,
I've got
okay.
another one or two more announcements to make. Okay,
Okay.
fellow disputers. So how our format of this meeting, how it takes place is this. We actually the meeting starts sharp at 11 o'clock. But before that, from 10:30 or from 10:30 on, we play a video. Like today, right? Did you enjoy the video of Daniel Dimakali this morning before we started at 11? If you enjoyed the video and if you were there watching, type in enjoyed or yes, type in yes that you did enjoy. Okay, and we'll be having this. I'll be selecting some videos to play so that to keep you guys entertained while waiting for the and also for people to be punctual. So every week we have from 11 o'clock to 11:45 we have the time to hear our Kangen experiences. But that's only for the private. That's a closed door meeting. All right, and from 11:45 onwards, we have the the public forum where we have the speaker of the week to share, and that's open to everybody. Okay, so with that, thank you once again, Gary, and I'll see you guys next week. Michael.
Yeah, thank you very much. Our session have come to the end, but before we go, let's give a round of applause and thanks to all of those of you who have stayed from the beginning to the end. Number two, we would like to thank those who have participated in the sharing session, and also especially to our guest speaker, Gary Gunn. I'm very sure you're going to hear him talk to you before you fall asleep. If you want to succeed in this business, please come. We will be bringing more and more dynamic people like Gary Gunn to share success stories on how we can do it even better in this business. Finally, let's give a round of applause to our great leaders, Sam and Cora. Cora is missing, but I'm sure she's around. Let's give both of them a big round of applause and appreciation. Thank you very much. Please keep safe. Please stay healthy. We meet again next week. Thank you.
I am unmuting. You all can unmute yourself to say your buys and highs and buys. So, okay, bye bye everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sam.
Sam,
Sam, thank you,
Michael.
Cora. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Michael.
Awesome
Thank
session.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
Gary.
you, everybody. Thank you.
Michael, thank
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. It
Gary.
was great listening to you. Gary. Thank you.
guys.
Okay,
It's
bye.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sam.
So
thank
see you next
you.
week.
Everyone.
Great sharing,
Who is
Gary.
next
Thank
week's
you.